Simple interactive models for better air quality, SimAir. These are a family of tools first introduced in 2000 for only sulfur pollution management, but now looks at multiple pollutants, emission analysis, impacts, and also optimization of different options for multiple pollutants. In this video and the following videos, we will explain what the tool is about and a quick overview of the tool, and also explain in multiple modules what each of those components look like, and an application for one of the cities in India to give you an idea of how these things come together. The important concept behind the SimAir tools is very simple. We want to be able to say how much pollution is coming from which source, both in terms of emissions and in terms of ambient concentrations, what that means in terms of impacts, and if we had a list of scenarios, what can we do. If we put that whole thing in a schematic, it would look something like this. The idea is to put together all the information that we have for emissions and translate them somehow into concentrations, use that information to study health impacts of these ambient concentrations, and if we had a list of options, how do these pan out in reducing the emissions, concentrations, and health impacts. We will basically go through this in the coming videos and also in the overview of the tool. Two things. The tool is about data collection and it is about integrated assessments. So we are not only talking about just emissions, but we want to go through an entire cycle that's shown in the earlier schematic. And we will also show you how we can integrate this and put together an optimization scheme using Microsoft Excel and do some scenario analysis. So we will show each of these in multiple videos. Now a demo of the tool itself. You can download the tool, the earlier versions and the new versions, and there are some sub modules that can be used separately. For example, transport sector can be evaluated separately, dust can be evaluated separately, and also looking at how we go from emissions to concentrations, even that can be seen. So all those tools are listed here and you can download them at urbanemissions.info, including the manuals to support the calculations. The tool itself, this is version 1.3. There are some basic assumptions involved in using this tool, and we will go through that. For example, to start with, in this demo version, we divided the city into a 5x5 grids, and we will do all the analysis for these grids. So there are a number of sheets that one needs to go through, and they're all named appropriately so that they're easy to find what that means. City, just a general description of the city. Distribution. So these are some spatial distribution schemes that we need to introduce to distribute the emissions. There will be another video explaining this in detail. Fuel quality, vehicles, what kind of vehicles are in the city, what's the usage, and for the paved road, dust, industries, what type of industries are in the city and what kind of energy is consumed, residential sector, garbage sector. And once you introduce all these data, this is the minimum data that we look for, and all those calculations are done in the back, and these are summarized here in terms of how many tons of PM10, PM2.5, SO2 and NOx are coming out. An important assumption here is that we use with the emission factors, we are using default emission factors in this demo version. So you will have all those details listed here. So you can go through that, and if you want to change any of these, you can easily click on any of these cells and change the number. And all the calculations are done, and all the equations are openly visible. You can go through that and improve any of those worksheets. Once all these sheets are filled, all the calculations are coming through here. To go from emissions to concentrations, there is a two-step process. One is we're using these distribution schemes to distribute the total emissions into grids, and we are also using a methodology called transfer matrices. So instead of using a dispersion model directly, so we use a dispersion model indirectly, where the matrix of change in concentrations to change in emissions is conducted beforehand, and introduce that into the worksheet as one of the inputs. There will be a separate video on how to build these transfer matrices and how to input them into SIMAIR. Once you have that, so we're basically going from emissions to concentrations, and there are a number of studies done, number of epidemiological studies conducted across the world. So we have a good understanding of these dose response functions to calculate premature mortality and even some morbidity impacts. So we have that included here. So you basically have your emissions going to concentrations and going to the health impacts. And if you have a list of management options, then we can start looking at what could be the change in concentrations and health impacts if we introduced multiple control options in the city, either individually or as a combination of all these options listed here. So please keep in mind that this is a demo version only. There will be a case study video separately for one of the cities where there will be actual details with full-scale emissions inventory and dispersion modeling.